Welcome to this lesson on how you perceive the world around you. Now, there's a statement that philosophers have pondered on over the centuries. This statement is, we see the world not as it is, but as we are. In this lesson, we're going to discuss the way that we perceive the world around us. And at the end, you'll be able to see that this statement is true. So let's start by first reviewing a little bit about our mind. Now, our mind can be split into two parts. The first is our conscious mind, and the second is our subconscious mind. And we talked about these in one of our previous lessons. And in that lesson, you learned that your conscious mind has the ability to reason, to analyze, and to think. And you also learned that your subconscious mind is much like a computer, and that you can use your conscious mind to program your subconscious with whatever program that you want to. We also discussed the idea that from conception to about 7 years old, you only had your subconscious mind, and anything that your parents or other adults in authority over you told you or showed you through their actions went right into your subconscious and became one of your programs. Now, all of these programs in your subconscious are called your belief system. Your belief system is made up of all of your values, your beliefs, and your opinions. And in this context, your belief system has nothing to do with religion. I just want to make sure that that's clear. When I'm talking about beliefs, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking simply a belief is something that you believe to be true. In addition to the two parts of our mind, we also have five senses. And through these five senses, we experience the world around us. We have the senses of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Now, everything that you know about the physical world or experience around you comes through one of these five senses. And at any given point in time, it is estimated that there are 11 million to 15 million bits of information coming through these five senses from the world around us. And for these, I'm going to just refer to it as 15 million bits. Now, this 15 million bits of information is coming through our five senses to our mind for it to process so that then we can experience the world around us. But let's talk more about the capabilities of the two parts of our mind. Because of the specialization of our conscious mind wasn't designed to handle large amounts of information. It was designed to take small amounts of data and analyze it. We could then reason out conclusions based on that small amount of information. Now, with this specialization, our conscious mind can only process somewhere between 8 to 50 bits of information per second. Now, our subconscious mind is vastly different. It can handle large amounts of information. And remember, our subconscious doesn't have the ability to reason, but it does have the ability to recognize patterns, and it makes connections between two different bits of information to create these patterns. So it can take large amounts of information, it categorizes it, and then it creates patterns with that information. But because we don't have a modern computer that can actually match the computing power of our subconscious mind, we don't actually know how much power our subconscious mind has. But they estimate that our subconscious can handle somewhere in the ballpark of hundreds of trillions to quadrillions of bits of information per second. So that is a lot of bits. So if we go back to our senses, we see that the world around us is giving us about 15 million bits of information per second. So if you look at our mind, which one would you say is best equipped to handle all that information that's coming to us? Now, you would say it was our subconscious mind. But you may be thinking, don't I experience the world consciously? And so how come you're saying that I receive it through my subconscious mind, but I'm experiencing the world around me consciously? And the answer is you do experience the world around you through your conscious mind, but what you're experiencing through your conscious mind is being filtered first by your subconscious mind. So the next question we've got to ask is, if our subconscious is filtering this and it doesn't have the ability to reason, How does it know what to filter? It knows what to filter based off our belief system. Now, our belief system, remember, is made up of our values, our beliefs, and our opinions. And all of those were given to us from when we were born until about 7 years old by the people around us, and then also by what we have programmed it with since then. And all these programs that make up your belief system tell your subconscious mind what is important to you. So your subconscious takes that 15 million bits of information, it categorizes that information and creates patterns. And when it recognizes patterns that are important to us based on our belief system, it will then send that information on to our conscious mind. Also, if there is something in our environment that we have programmed into our subconscious as being a threat, it will also make that aware to us as well. So we see the good things that we want to go towards, and we see the things that we want to avoid. Now, going back to the earlier statement that we see the world not as it is, but we see the world as we are, starts to make a little bit of sense. You see, our subconscious takes that 15 million bits of information from our senses, compares that information to our belief system, and then sends the most relevant 8 to 50 bits of information to our conscious mind. So our belief system really makes up who we are. So we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are because of our belief system. Now, let's take this understanding and bring it back to a person with a pornography addiction. A person with a pornography addiction has a subconscious programming in their belief system that is leading them towards their addiction. It's bringing out things in their environment that would lead towards that addiction. Now, our subconscious mind is going to bring these things to our addiction because it wants us to engage in that behavior. And in addiction terms, this bringing us aware of stuff in our environment, we would call this a trigger. So your environment isn't actually triggering you. It's not your environment that is bringing things to your awareness to try to get you to engage in that behavior, but it's actually your subconscious mind that's taking that 15 million bits of information. It's finding 8 to 50 bits of it that would trigger you. It's bringing those to your awareness so that then you can go and engage in your addiction. Remember from a previous lesson, we learned that your subconscious is using this addiction to solve that chemical need that it has, that need for survival, to counteract the chemicals from stress that are destroying your body. See, it's looking for a way for you to engage in that activity so it can find relief, even if it's for a brief amount of time. Because remember, your subconscious doesn't understand time. Now, what we want to do with this understanding is we want to reprogram our subconscious mind. We want to program it with new beliefs that will lead us towards the things that we want out of life instead of it leading us towards our addiction. Now, before we leave this lesson, I want to talk about some numbers that I've previously mentioned to bring them together so you can get a real grasp of how you experience the world around you and your addiction, and why most traditional approaches to addiction recovery often don't work for the majority of people. Now, in previous lessons, we talked about how addiction is a program in the subconscious mind. And in this program, that's one of the things that you're going to learn how to do is to reprogram that subconscious mind. Now, if we try to use our willpower to confront this subconscious programming head on, and we try to fight our way through to sobriety, we're fighting an uphill battle. Remember that our conscious mind can only process at most 50 bits of information per second. But our subconscious mind can process trillions to quadrillions of bits of information per second. Now, in terms of raw computing power, your subconscious is trillions to quadrillions of times more powerful. So you're not going to overpower your subconscious mind through sheer willpower. It's a losing battle. Also remember that the very way that you view the world around you is filtered by your subconscious. So if you're trying to trick your subconscious, or you're trying to get around it, your subconscious is the one that's actually providing you with the information. So it's going to run circles around you. So our subconscious really dictates what we actually experience in our outer world. So when we try to use our willpower to force our way out of our addiction, our subconscious will then just make us aware of things in our environment that's going to trigger us to want to go and view pornography. And it's going to get us so wrapped up into that that all we think about is engaging in our addictive behavior. So are you starting to understand why you may have struggled so much in overcoming your addiction previous to this? And at times why it may have seemed so hopeless, why you were being so compelled to engage in that behavior? Now, there is a better way. And I mentioned it earlier, it's to reprogram our subconscious mind. And in this program, again, you're going to learn how to do that. We don't want to fight against the programming in our subconscious. Instead, we want to reprogram it. Then instead, our subconscious will use this new programming that we're going to program it with to lead us towards the things we want out of life instead of leading us towards our addiction. Now, one last thing that I want to mention to set us up for our next lesson. Remember in the first lesson, I talked about how you are mostly empty space, and that if you were to remove all this empty space, you would be less than the size of a speck of dust. If we were to put this into numbers, you are 99.9999999% empty space. That means that the matter that makes you up occupies 0.0000001% of the space that you occupy. Now, just to say that again, that's a decimal with 6 zeros and then a 1. That's so small of a percentage. And it is in the body, this small percentage, where your addiction actually resides. See, it's your body that's addicted to these things. You are actually more than your body. There is a part of you that fills that other 99.9999999%, as well as the spirit or energy that we talked about in the first lesson. See, it's not just that spirit or energy that's there. It's something, it's a part of you. And now many cultures have talked about this invisible part of ourselves, and it has been called by many names over the millennia. In religious terms, they refer to this as a person's soul. In modern science, they call it your consciousness. Now, for this course, I will be referring to this as your intelligence. I might also refer to it as consciousness as well, or I might even refer to it as your soul. But if I use any one of those terms, that part of us, that bigger part of us, that's what I'm referring to. But most often I'll refer to it as an intelligence. So what's important to know is that the body, again, is where your addiction resides. And your body occupies such a small amount of the total space that you occupy. And we get so preoccupied with the body. We get so preoccupied in that we are the body and that we live in this body. But your intelligence occupies most of that space. And your intelligence is actually so much more powerful than your body. So in this course, we're going to talk about taking care of the body, how you are not actually your body, but you are this intelligence. We are going to talk about how to use our body and reprogram our conscious mind so that we help take care of the body. But we're also going to be helping you to uncover who you really are, this intelligence that resides within you, and the vast amount of potential and power that this intelligence that you really are has. In this next lesson, we are going to go over more about this intelligence. We're going to talk about who you really are and how to start uncovering what this intelligence actually is within you. It's actually your true nature. But for now, I just want to end this lesson with how we started, by telling you that you don't see the world as it is, but you see the world as you are. So until the next lesson, bye for now.